Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Smudcast number 715. This is Trope Talk, so we're covering another video by Red. And this is Kaiju, or Giant Monster Stories. That's the term phrased, or the genre phrase from Japan when Godzilla became a thing. And it became its own genre, or its own element of genre in anime and manga, with giant robots, or giant monsters, giant anything pretty much. You could even say giant girls are kaiju in certain modern manga, but that's a different genre entirely. So this is Red. This video came out apparently a few years ago. Let me just check the date. 2019. Okay, so 4 years ago. And 1.6 million views. And I can't see the downvotes. The plugin is not working, so I don't know how popular.
Yeah, it's not working for me either.
Yeah, so this came out apparently in Twitter a few weeks ago about this specific video. I don't know why. I wasn't part of that Twitter reading. But she says some strange things that, is not uncommon for her. She says lots of things, so I'm sure some of them are going to be strange. We might disagree. We're not sure yet. So
there was the Pixar movie Monsters vs. Aliens that had a kaiju woman.
Really?
That was DreamWorks.
What?
Monsters vs. Aliens was DreamWorks.
Oh.
Fair enough.
Pixar had
apart.
Pixar had what was the Red Panda one? That technically counts as a kaiju.
Oh god.
We don't talk about the red panda.
Oh yeah.
Hand in your mouth, sir.
We also don't metaphorically talk about the red panda.
Okay, we don't talk about the Red Panda at all then.
the movie.
All right. Well, anyway, this is a very popular genre for certain fans, so it's only normal for us to cover this sort of topic. And wait, we have the wrong video. What's going on here? There we go. Okay, now we're ready to go.
Oh god damn it! I thought it was only got 7 minutes.
No.
Let me turn on subtitles. Okay, 17 minutes. I doubt we're going to be able to get through it today. We won't do a second one, I bet, but we'll see how far we can get with her and how our attention span lasts, or our patience, rather. Here we go.
When is a giant monster not a giant monster? When it's a giant metaphor! Let's do this. So, kaiju is a Japanese word that literally means strange beast, but it's typically used to refer to a specific kind of monster.
Echo.
Yeah, a little bit of echo.
I just said mystery beast, though. You can't just say strange beast, but have the translation right there on screen read. Why?
Right. It's usually associated with giant monsters and monster movies. That's how we do it. Not strange beast or weird beast or queer beast, just giant monster.
The monster is giant. Now, debate, but most people agree on the classic biologist answer of, giant monsters in the face.
What just happened? Whoa, we just...
Whoa. Someone skipped it forward.
All right, let's bring it back to this. Okay. Here we go.
A Japanese word that literally means strange beast, but it's typically used to refer to a specific kind of monster in monster movies where the monster is giant. Now, what exactly defines a kaiju is a matter of furious academic debate, but most people agree on the classic biologist answer of...
Are you guys still hearing an echo?
Yes.
Apparently it's coming from my end.
Yep.
Yes.
I don't know how to fix that.
Push to talk.
Use headphones.
Well, that's a little complicated.
Use push to talk. It's better.
Or headphones.
Yeah, we can't have him rush to the store or mail him headphones. It won't happen in an efficient amount of time. So
headphones.
Yeah, mute. You can mute yourself. That works. And you want to talk, just unmute yourself. That also works. Yeah. Okay, no problem.
Now, in general, kaiju are big and destructive and screaming a lot. Let's not get too specific. That's how you attract philosophers. Now, kaiju movies are usually about two things. The kaiju itself.
What? Is that a joke?
That
or
was an attempt at a joke.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
The structure of a joke was there.
Yeah.
Just disregard the attempt to doing the joke. don't care about it.
Anytime philosophy's brought up, I was like, what? What'd you just say? And then she just jumped and I'm like, okay, forget it. It's stupid.
Itself and how people react to it. A lot of this is because kaiju make extremely convenient analogies for any kind of large-scale threat or fear an audience might be facing. Kaiju are typically huge, powerful, and impossible to control, persuade, or stop with conventional weapons. And notably, they're not really comparable to anything else, like a horror monster but bigger and less personal.
Well, no, you could have all those movies where it's like Twister or Tornadoes or any of those world destruction films. It's the same idea. It's just this big, massive thing that you can't control.
It's man versus nature, basically.
Yeah. Memphis is right. The main metaphor is natural disaster, not any of these others.
Yeah, whether you personify it as a biped or a quadruped or an alien, it does make a difference. It's the same idea.
Faster, but with a lot more agency. How would people... Because kaiju don't have easy real-world parallels. Kaiju ask the question, what would you do in the face of something so vast and powerful that you couldn't overpower it? And if a society had...
No, that is why his metaphor is a nuke, because Godzilla's main danger is that he's massively radioactive. Yep. The whole shooting lasers from his mouth, that's tossing a few buildings over, that's just basic earthquake stuff. But radioactivity... That's something that's scary, because it's this threat that you don't even know is there. Radioactivity is a Lovecraftian monster.
Interesting. That's a good one.
In the case of Godzilla, he's basically a walking sun. If you were to be close to him, you would be instantly melted.
Yeah, or think of Godzilla as a meteor shower of uranium.
Okay.
Interesting.
Here's Vladimir Dragonov. Thank you for the 5, sir. So I have escaped the Siberian gulag. Apparently, Putin didn't like me, calling his Chinese boyfriend Winnie the Pooh.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah, good for you, sir.
Write a book.
That's
The actual question is, what did you did to be on the Siberian gulag?
Yeah, that's not too personal for me, but okay, fair enough. Back to this wonderful explanation.
Some big nebulous fear that they can't really deal with, as most societies do, you can take out the nebulous part and turn that fear into a monster, and then ask the question again. It turns speculative fiction into social commentary. Now, what exactly...
Well,
not exactly.
That's like saying...
I was going to give the example. The first Godzilla, to be charitable to her, was something to do with the fear of radiation, but subsequent and all the future movies and series about kaiju monsters or robots versus kaijus or aliens, heroes like Ultraman fighting monsters, it's just that. It's just about that. There's no social thing tied to it.
I would say the Japanese movie have an emphasis on showing the bureaucracy behind it all.
Oh, those.
Yeah, they did that. I was going to say they did that with what was that? Shin Godzilla.
Shin Godzilla. Yeah, they and that was. I like that callback to the classic, because that's I would say really what it's about, not the personal stories of the individual or tragic. I lost my dog, but this whole what actually happens when there's a natural disaster. A bunch of politicians come together in a big room, sit there, say 3 things, go to another room, and then the whole process continues until the fire truck is sent somewhere.
Yeah, if we want social commentary about humanity, what else would it be about? You look at post-apocalyptic stories like zombie survival or after the bomb, not during like the slow motion nuclear bomb that is Godzilla. You wouldn't really, it's not really social commentary. There's nothing to say. It's like, oh, that's horrible. Wow. There it goes. Oh, there goes a building. Like, okay.
To be honest, I wouldn't want to live in a world where kaijus exist. It must be a terrible place to live.
Yeah, imagine
you
if our...
would start naming your cities just by alphabetical letters.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, imagine if you were in the world of One Punch Man, where entire cities get destroyed, and they're named after districts like A or B or 1 or 2. So this is not a safe place, especially if the world had dozens of
giant monsters,
either giant monsters or horrific weather events every week. Like, that would just be uninhabitable. You would escape.
Move out to the country.
You'd have to create shelters underground or move up north or whatever the solution would be. So, social commentary, not so much.
Yeah, you can try to make it like Bad Boy and Whisp said that there is some in Shin Godzilla, but going too much with the social commentary would, in my opinion, take out the attention from the monster, who is the star of this type of stories.
Yeah, and that's also the same with giant robo stories in anime. Yes, there is definitely relationships between the robot and the person controlling the robot, or the person who built the robot, or people trying to use the robot. Yeah, but it's about the robot. It's about the big guy.
Yeah. Plus, I was going to say there's also another Godzilla movie coming up. I think it comes out later this year.
It's made by Universal.
Yeah, Godzilla -1, and it's supposed to be like set post World War II Japan.
Cool.
When everybody's like rebuilding
it's
after
like,
the war.
It's like a retelling of the first movie.
Yes. Essentially, yes.
It can work. It can work.
Yeah.
I hope they bring the oxygen bomb they used to destroy Godzilla.
Destroyer?
Yeah.
All right. Here is Gingaman. Hey, Gingaman. How's it going? You're not here, but that's okay. Thanks for the 5. Just from these first few minutes, I already feel like I'm going as insane as when we covered Game Genres Are Dumb by Nikolai Bolton, and I'm not even on the panel. You could read that much into it? Okay. I mean, that's pretty good. She's just doing an okay job describing the generality of what the genre is without giving examples so far. So, I mean, it's not bad. It's not great either, but
it's a very easy trope to explain. Like, it's just giant monster, whatever it is. If it is a giant monkey like King Kong, or a walking sun lizard, which is Godzilla.
I just got hung up on the social commentary comment. That just threw me off.
Matthews, how much of a disastrous natural phenomenon that you have to take shelter from, or that wrecks your lives temporarily, is El Nino?
I don't know. That's a hard. Believe it or not, that's a hard question to answer.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of examples.
Right. They made it out as this horrible terror thing here some decades ago, when they first discovered up here in Europe that El Nino is a thing, and then they ran a lot of documentaries about it, where it's like, the world is going under every time.
Every year, yeah.
Yeah, like, we have this other natural phenomenon every year up here in Europe, where you can't do any harvests. You are short of dying of bad temperatures. It's called winter.
All right. Here is the Copper Owl. Thank you, sir. Why am I always out of town for red videos?
I don't know, dude. That's
God's
like a you problem.
Obstacles into your way to overcome.
That's like a you problem, Copper. You need to figure it out.
All right.
Skill is you.
And now we have a $10 super chat from Vladimir. Thank you, sir. So, originally I was going to head west to Poland or the Ukraine, but that would mean being closer to the UK than I could tolerate. So instead, I'm heading east to Alaska. Does that even...
How are you on the map here?
How far east?
Dude,
well, he was already in the
so
Siberian Gulag. If he's in the Siberian Gulag, Alaska isn't that far away.
Yeah, but east?
Keep doing
Yes, Alaska is
super
east
chats.
of Siberia.
Really? Okay, maybe I have to check them out.
Hey,
You
just
did
got a
these
slim
super
for it.
chats. I want you.
You just crossed the.
Oh, you
Is
can go
it
on.
the Bering Land Bridge?
All right.
No, the land bridge is not there anymore. He needs to use a boat.
Well,
Keep
there are
doing
still
those
some.
super.
There's still some islands left. You can hop from island to island.
Keep doing the super chats. I want to know the story. How Vladimir's stories end.
All
Yeah,
right.
please write a book about your adventure.
All right. Well, until we get to that wonderful story from our wonderful chatter, or super chatter even, let's continue with the video.
That the sphere is can vary a lot. Godzilla, the archetypical kaiju, originated as the terror of the bomb, the post-World War II fear of the consequences of nuclear weaponry. More recent kaiju movies like Pacific Rim and even some of the Godzilla remakes cast the kaiju as more analogous to climate change, the current big nebulous threat. And with King Kong,
Yeah,
who was
none
a
of the
kaiju
Godzilla
before
movies
kaiju
do
were
that.
cool, he's a giant monstrous ape from a far-off land that kidnaps a terrified white lady. And one extremely popular interpretation is that he's analogous for
I'm slow. I had to process this claim, and Pacific Rim is about climate change. What? When did that happen?
Does anyone know
Where
the
was
story?
that in the movie, Red?
Hey, does anyone know the story of Pacific Rim? I know it's a big robot, but
It's about alien invasion.
Yeah, I don't think Pacific Rim has a deeper meaning to it. Also, is the Echo gone?
yes.
Yes.
Cool.
Awesome.
So yeah, the recent Godzilla movies don't have any environmental messages, and if they are, they're just very, very surface level.
And Shin Godzilla basically ended in a metaphor for humanity's fight against nature by having an evolution metaphor.
Interesting.
There was the whole intricate Lovecraftian shape of Godzilla's tail at the end, where it was made up of all these various creatures, and at the end it looked like humanoids.
Yeah, little humanoid Godzillas were butting off of his tail. It's a really weird fucking movie.
What isn't weird in
Made
Japan?
by Hideki Anno.
No, seriously.
He can do good movies.
You just gotta keep him on his
It was a good. It was still a good movie, just weird.
All
I
right.
liked it.
Fair enough.
I mean, the legendary Godzilla played it really safe by comparison.
Okay. Well, here's the wonderful line that I think everyone gets hung up on. So here we go.
Yes, this is the part that made the rounds on
xenophobia
Twitter.
that was oh so popular in 1930s America. Kaiju let us cast nebulous, invisible fears as skyscraper-sized giant monsters, which is useful because it's easier to think about a giant monster than a disembodied.
Does people really see giant monsters as global warming these days in movies?
No, it's just. You know what the average person sees when they see a monster movie? Oh, look, a monster movie!
I feel like that's a reference to what was that? Oh, it was not Godzilla versus Kong. It was King of the Monsters, was it? What was the
right,
one
that
recently?
one.
Yeah, where what's her name wanted to like release all the kaiju to
Reset the earth.
Yeah, King of the Monsters.
reset the Earth. Yeah,
That
King
was
of the
the
Monsters.
dumbest fucking thing, and I'm glad I got her come up.
Look, King of the Monsters is so bad because it focused so much on the humans and less on the monsters that I refuse to watch.
Like, not
Yeah,
even
man, I
that.
love that
Hollywood,
movie.
that is a disease of Hollywood. They always do this.
Like, I'm not against the humans in monster movie, but you shouldn't make the human the star. The star is the monster. You should focus on the monster.
But Mephius, the American audience is really, really dumb. That's why we have to Yeah, that's why we have. I'm just saying what Hollywood.
I know,
thinks,
I know,
How
I'm
Hollywood
kidding,
sees
I'm
things,
kidding.
and that is, the audience is so really, really dumb. So we need to put this woman in there who has a personal family story that we follow along, and somewhere in the distance on the horizon you can see the monster advertised on the poster. I fucking hate American cinema for that.
Look, Guillermo del Toro made something that people want, which is Pacific Rim. What is Pacific Rim? It's just robots punching alien monsters.
Yes.
And that's it. That's how a successful monster movie should be. It's just that.
Yes, but he had to be already an established brand name a mighty established name in the industry to be allowed to do that without a major studio meddling. And then they made the second movie, and it was garbage.
Yeah, even he hates the second movie.
Was he involved in the second movie?
I don't know.
Oh dear.
But I know just recently they said that he hates the second movie.
Good.
All right. Okay.
By the way, as we mentioned Guillermo del Toro, not a kaiju movie, but I was recommended by a lot of people on the server from the everything south of the US to watch The Book of Life, which is an animated movie by Guillermo del Toro, and it is amazing. You must watch it.
I've seen that movie.
Better than Coco, and I'm sad that I missed out on Book of Life.
I will agree.
All right. Here is the Copperell one more time. Thank you, sir. Godzilla versus Hedorah is anti-pollution, and it's bad. I
know that one.
That one.
Yeah, I know.
It's the one Japanese film where it gets fucking really trippy in the middle for some reason.
Yeah, like one of the main human characters is a hippie.
And fucking Godzilla blows himself to go chase the Hedorah.
Oh, yeah.
He flies.
He flies.
Rockets into the air.
He glides with atomic breath.
Yep. He grabs his tail and he flies through the air to catch up to the monster.
Wow, that sounds trash.
all
The
right.
70s were not Godzilla's strongest. The 80s.
It was.
I love Mechagodzilla 1.
I will defend to the death Godzilla versus Space Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2.
That's a
That sounds
That movie's
sounds perfect monster movie because it's so like listen, let's make this just for doing it.
And the title is just everything you want.
well. That's a whole story right there. I'm sure. So.
It's like Sharknado 6. That's they let's make Sharknado 6 just for doing it.
Oh.
We know this is trash. Let's just make it.
Yeah, let's not remember those movies. That was scary. Okay, here's one more super chat. We'll get back to the video. Here's Vladimir Dragonov. Thank you again for the 5. Also, not to be that guy, but the oxygen destroyer was already used in King of the Monsters. The oxygen destroyer.
Yeah, the oxygen destroyer was done
yeah.
dirty in that movie.
The oxygen destroyer is what they use in the original Godzilla to destroy Godzilla, and
And then in the Heisei era,
honestly,
the destroyer being created.
honestly, don't watch King of the Monsters. Just watch the first Godzilla from the Universal movies because that one is really good. It focuses on Godzilla and that's it. Godzilla versus King Kong is not that good too.
Neither of them.
Neither the new King Kong. I think the new Skull Island is really lame.
I mean, at least the old one's kind of fun for
Look,
fun watch.
The Peter Jackson one, I know that people like to flag the Peter Jackson one, but you can't say the Skull Island in Peter Jackson's King Kong is not creative. It is very creative, and I want to catch the Skull Island's book that have all the concept arts for the monsters.
All right, fair enough.
I think from all the Hollywood, there's been a lot of Hollywood movies in the past years that every time they had some sort of global warming or environmentalism plot, that the solution was always, we need to eradicate humanity. Humanity is the disease and everything, and we're somehow supposed to empathize with the villain who wants to kill humanity.
No, it's even on the new King Kong too, because that's the
Matthews. It's not just kaiju movies. The 2 first Kingsman movies also had exactly these plots.
It's also tiresome. I really just want to. That's why I love Pacific Rim, and I rewatch it sometime sometimes in the month, because it's just that it's just giant robots punching alien monsters, and Deep Sea Danger is my favorite mech on that movie.
With good camera work, with good scene setting, with great soundtrack, and I only saw it in the cinema. I actually haven't rewatched it since.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let us.
Before we get back, I just want to say there's only one movie of Pacific Rim. There's no sequel, just one movie.
Yeah, it's one of those. Yes.
All right. Okay. Here we go.
Fear. It's a grand old sci-fi tradition to make your monster an allegory for a current threat, like in Heinlein's The Puppet Masters, where he very specifically reminds the audience on multiple occasions that these mind-controlling alien parasites are just like those gosh darn communists. Anyway, Kaiju is to embody the prevailing...
But that's
I hate everyone who tries to flag Robert A. Heinlein, because I love Starship Troopers, and I like all the other books too, and I just don't take people who flag him seriously.
But Red is a communist, so she has to defend communism and make snide remarks against people who criticize communism. Because she thinks it's somehow a force for good, despite the overwhelming evidence in history and the present day.
So I don't think Red ever brings up Gamera in this video. Does Gamera have any deeper meaning?
No, he's just a giant turtle who helps the cities.
There we go.
All right, here's Zimzilla99. Thanks for the $9.99. That's gets your namesake. Thank you, sir. Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla and Godzilla versus Space Godzilla are two different films. Okay.
Yeah, and they look like they are the perfect kaiju movie, because it's just that.
I have never ever again looked up in a movie database or anything, but I remember clearly in my teens when I was in a hostel with all the other teens together in the TV room, we watched a movie called Godzilla versus Space Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla Roman 2.
Roman 2?
And it was, and they all three were in the movie.
Was that the Bible?
Those are two different movies. Or does Germany have some sort of weird cut where they splice them together into one movie?
Well,
possible. Would you notice the difference?
Yeah, those are two separate movies.
It sounds like they put it into the German version of the Bible. That'd be pretty awesome if Godzilla
maybe they
pops
retitled
up
it.
In Romans, it's like the Roman emperor starts talking, and all of a sudden, Mechagodzilla comes in and starts crushing the.
I would pay to watch this movie. Smud is describing, because go on, Whisp.
Yes, see, I before that movie, I didn't know Space Godzilla was a thing, and I didn't know Mechagodzilla was a thing, and it was Mechagodzilla 2.
Yeah,
so
maybe they splice the moves together.
Look,
I think they just forged.
Yeah, or I jump timelines, and I'm telling you of a movie that should be.
Okay.
Japan, you missed
honestly,
out on something.
Honestly, I will talk to the Daily Wire and make this movie as Smud is describing. A giant lizard destroying ancient Rome. That would be fun.
How dare you? How could you do that?
That's my plan. That's my plan. Hear me out. I will make this movie of a giant lizard destroying ancient Rome.
How about an expansion to Rome Total War? That'd be perfect. Just make an expansion. Just have a giant catastrophe.
No, screw CA. CA wouldn't do that. No. Let's just make the movie.
But the giant lizard is the metaphor for the degeneracy and hubris of Rome.
The giant lizard will be in German.
Yeah,
that's the idea.
Rome is really fighting itself. Okay, that's good. Oh, they're their own worst enemy. How dare Rome grow that big? Anyway, let's keep going.
Okay, Copper Owl said something. The titles are different international. Kuryu is the second mech that helped fight Space Godzilla. Then they probably named the movie that is that in German.
Mogira.
What I said. What?
Sorry. Mogira was the one that fought Space Godzilla. Kiryu is from the Millennium series. That's the third incarnation of Mechagodzilla.
Wow, there's lore in Godzilla.
Oh yeah.
Well, there definitely is. Yeah, we just don't know it off the top of our heads.
You have the Showa era, and then you have the Heisei, and the new one, I think. I don't know.
Showa, Heisei, Millennium, and Reiwa.
Heisei's my favorite.
Zimzilla gave another explanation.
Oh, there we go. Thank you again for the $9.99, Mr. 99. Mechagodzilla 2 came out in 93 and Space Godzilla 94. The mecha in Space Godzilla is Moguera?
Okay, I can imagine that they changed the title for the German version because they do that, and they're still English-sounding titles. I don't know why the German localization studios do that. I think they're insane, and we all hate them for it.
Probably just easier to translate.
No, they just change the titles from the original English title, for example, if it has an English title, to another English title with a stupid German subline. It's horrible.
That's really weird.
Horrible.
All right.
It's horrible.
All right. Translations suck. We all know that. We've done a few videos on that.
It's painful.
Let's continue.
Social fear of the day, be it xenophobia, McCarthyism,
Whoa.
or various apocalyptic threats.
So what the-
It's also
What?
See, she has
McCarthyism?
she has to defend communism.
That's like 80 years old. What are you talking? Yeah, the social problems of a day. Oh, whoa, okay.
Red, you're no better than a fucking Nazi.
It's a
You're
shame
no better
that
than a fucking Holocaust denier.
it's a shame we don't have some version of McCarthyism these days, so we wouldn't have to talk about it all the time. But apparently, we have to.
I wish we had some
It's really
McCarthyism because the communism is getting a bit overboard right now.
Well, the solution.
Nah, we threw that card away.
The solution to that is inflation. So anyway,
Right.
just take some.
And the communists tell us in order to fight inflation, we're going to print more money.
Just take another 20, 30 years, and then we'll figure out. Oh yeah, we shouldn't be doing that anymore.
Yeah, let's print more money to pay our debt and increase our debt by increasing printing more money.
Great.
They've had 100 years to figure that out. At this point, we have to assume that they're doing it on purpose.
Oh yeah. Well. Anyway, back to the video where we stop every 10 seconds.
Narratives are heavily dependent on the social context they're creating.
No, no,
They just
no. It's look. There's no social commentary in most kaiju movies or series. It's just the monster invading the land. To be charitable to her interpretation, the only two movies that we cited that have some social commentary is Shin Godzilla and the first Godzilla. And that's it.
And there's also GMK, which had like Japanese war guilt in it. Like in that movie, the spirits of everybody killed by the Japanese in World War II all fused together to create a new Godzilla.
yeah. Instead of like this is a typical mythos of, let's say, instead of Saint George versus the dragon, it's like the dragon versus the other dragon, and one of the dragons happens to be a good dragon. And we're like, oh, it's protecting us from the greater evil. And we sort of associate ourselves with that plight of that creature.
And we're caught in the middle. If you want a metaphor for that, you could say, oh, there's two ideologies fighting and we're caught in the middle. And they're both shit.
Maybe, yeah. I don't think these films are that complex. And to associate...
Most aren't.
Yeah.
Most are
No,
not.
they're not. But Red is an avant-garde artist who thinks... she's way better than she is. So
If she is an avant-garde artist, then I don't think I can take her seriously, because I don't think avant-garde art is serious.
You can take her seriously, but that's my point, Matthias. Because avant-garde artists, they always interpret the most magical bullshit into the most mundane of crap.
I think,
which is something that annoyed a lot of children in school.
If she was focusing on Japanese anime using Kaiju, like the Giant Robo series, then you could say, oh, there's all these themes, there's all these characters, there's all this idea like good versus evil. There's all kinds of stuff in there to work with. Whereas big destruction giant films or giant monster films, they're not that deep, and they're not supposed to be. It's kind of like expecting Transformers is going to be some philosophical message about your place in the universe and what aliens mean and what does it mean to be alive. No, it's just a bunch of...
They dabbled this that they dabbled with it in the Cybertron games and in the Prime series, but even that they don't go that deep.
Those are the games and the anime or whatever Japan does with their cartoons.
The Cybertron trilogy did some things. I hear that the best star screen is from the Cybertron series. The games do that a lot, and the Primes, the Transformers Prime, do that too, and they are really well made. But they don't go that deep to the point that people start to get weary with how the philosophical questions are made.
Yeah, and I think any kind of Japanese anime or manga that does not have a significant message or theme is going to not be as appealing to if you just have a manga about giant robots fighting each other, because usually that's appealing to kids who watch Saturday morning cartoons, even in Japan, and they have all kinds of giant robots and giant monsters fighting each other, and it's fun. It's great. They're very well done.
Yeah, Capcom even made a whole fighting game about it, Cyberbots, which is it's a game that I love very much, but in the West, people don't pay attention to it.
Okay.
Like, dude, it's robots punching each other. Why you don't see how great this is?
Okay. It's BattleBots, but much bigger. Okay. All right. I guess a tech head would love that sort of thing in general, but even kids would love it, obviously. So it's a simple appeal. It's not complicated. Anyway, here's Vladimir Dragunov again. This time he's one-upping Zimzilla99 with the penny for the even $10. In case you're wondering, we're back to this story. I've managed to escape by telling the guards keeping me locked up was gay. Was that you're saying you were gay, or they were telling you they were gay?
No, they said that keeping him on the cell, it's gay.
Oh, doing the process of keeping me in the cell was gay. Okay, that's weird. Yes, it was that easy. I'm currently on a train to wherever the closest town is to the Bering Strait. Okay.
Keep up the story. I want to see the end of this.
I don't think that's a very good use of your monetary use of giving me money to.
Look, he's giving you $10, and he gave you a lot of money in all of your streams. He's pretty rich. He can. I'm pretty sure Vladimir is rich. That's why he can get out of the gold bag.
He's so rich. This whole jailing thing is retarded, guys. Come on. Are you a bunch of homosexuals?
And the Russians said, "Oh, okay, let him go."
We're not homosexuals. Of course we're going to let you. Okay, anyway. Let's keep going.
And change as the society changes. So let's start by diving into the archetypical kaiju, Godzilla. Now, Godzilla first appeared in 1954 in the Japanese movie Gojira. Now, before I get into the story of the movie, I need to provide a little bit of real-world context surrounding the production of this movie. First of all, the obvious, World War II. Godzilla was released 9 years after the war ended, 9 years after the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the first and currently last use of nuclear weapons in warfare. The director of the film, Ishiro Honda, was a World War II veteran who'd passed through Hiroshima on his way home and had been horrified at the devastation. Now, the US occupied Japan until 1952, and during that time, they censored Japanese media. Notably, nobody was allowed to actually talk about the atomic bomb, which meant that for 7 years, all that nationwide nuclear fear couldn't be directly addressed. After the US occupation ended, they decided to keep tickling the proverbial dragon's tail by restarting the Bikini Atoll nuclear tests, beginning with the Castle Bravo test, where the US detonated a high-yield thermonuclear bomb approximately 1,000 times more powerful than either of the atom bombs dropped on Japan 9 years earlier. Now, while Bikini Atoll is a couple thousand miles away from Japan, it is kind of their oceanic backyard, and the currents in that region do lead back to Japan. Now, the problem was the Castle Bravo test detonated an extremely dirty bomb. It produced a ton of fallout, much more than the report officially stated, and probably more than anyone expected. Sometimes nuclear physics is a little more art than science.
No.
Now, some of this fallout contaminated a nearby...
Would she complain as much if they had dropped the thing on Berlin as was intended?
No. She's going into...
That's the only that I know. There's probably more. But yeah, the first Godzilla had all this talk about the nuclear bomb and the bomb and how it was a threat and all the shenanigans. But all the post movies are just Godzilla, and that's it.
Well, she's going into a lot of detail, and that's fine, but it's probably not too relevant to the topic. But okay, fair enough. This is okay to learn about.
A Japanese fishing boat, inflicting the 23 crew members with acute radiation sickness, killing one of them and sparking an international incident. The US denied that the fallout could have affected the boat, Japan said the fallout had to have come from somewhere, tensions rose, and a Polish scientist crunched the numbers and confirmed the detonation had produced much more radioactivity than the US admitted. The media got a hold of it, the US quickly paid reparations to Japan, and nuclear paranoia spiked. It wasn't really a good look for the US. People were starting to realize that nukes were seriously bad news for literally everybody, and the US was kind of just dropping them willy-nilly in the ocean without making sure nobody was going to get hurt first. By the way, if you ever really want to piss yourself off, look up what happened to the people who lived on Bikini Atoll. So this was the immediate social context surrounding the creation of Godzilla. 2 nukes dropped.
That is stretching it. That is, if you're trying to say nuclear weapons testing off some part of the Pacific, which caused a bunch of people to get sick on an island, as well as people in a fishing boat, influenced Godzilla? I think that's less influential.
I think it actually did, though.
Yeah, but that's less.
It probably did, but
This is like saying a bomb blew up in my house, but another country away, someone got sick because of radiation poisoning.
Because apparently no one did in Japan.
Yeah, I think the bombing of it wasn't just 2 nuclear bombs. Like, they bombed all of Japan. It wasn't.
Did Red, of all the horror stories that Red heard, did she not hear of the horror stories of the survivors of the atom bombs? With the basically walking corpses whose flesh melted off of them. It was kind of horrible.
Yeah, and the guy who created Godzilla, he saw all the destruction in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and to my knowledge, I don't want to try to make him say that is true. I think the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki probably influenced him more than the Atoll Bikini bomb test, but I could be totally wrong, and so I just putting that as a hypothesis, nothing more.
Yeah, I'd say the 2 bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki are a little bit more influential, just a bit. Anyway, here's Zimzilla99 one more time. A tiny bit of contention. The Lucky Dragon. I just ate lunch from the Lucky Dragon today and yesterday. Was warned not to go where they went. What happened to them was terrible. And yes, the Lucky Dragon was part of the inspiration aside from the bombs. I don't remember.
I didn't know they went to a restricted area.
Yeah.
So not our fault.
Yeah. I mean,
on one hand, yeah, I don't condone my country doing really shady shit like that. But on the other hand, considering who we were up against during the 1950s, I see it as a lesser evil.
And the US made nuclear tests on its own turf, like Alaska, I think in some desert towns and other isolated areas. They just did a test on the ocean, just to say that.
It was what we consider still the worst war of humanity so far, for good reason.
Yeah.
Don't need to say much more.
Dropped 9 years prior, not allowed to talk about it for 7 of those years, and only 8 months earlier, 23 of your citizens were poisoned by a nuclear superweapon, accidentally. And the US is still testing those bombs in that area. Everyone is tense, everyone's way too familiar with the effects of nuclear weaponry, everyone's really hoping it doesn't happen again, but also knows it's completely out of their hands. And then they release Godzilla. Now, just for a moment, let's all pretend we've never heard of Godzilla. Godzilla? What's that? Some kind of soda, maybe? Well, the movie starts off strong with a Japanese fishing boat full of dudes having a grand old time until the ship is destroyed and the crew is killed by some unseen force and a blinding flash of light. Uh-oh. That sounds a lot like that thing that just happened earlier that year. But worse. Huh. So they send a boat to investigate, and the boat is destroyed. They send a third boat, and the boat is destroyed. An island is devastated in the night, and 17 houses are crushed. It could have been an earthquake, it could have been a typhoon, but neither of those would explain the radiation. and they certainly wouldn't explain the footprints. So yeah, Godzilla 1954 is a horror movie, unlike literally any of its sequels. Godzilla's kept hidden
Shin
for much of the
Godzilla
movie,
has
and
horror
it makes
elements
sense
in
this would
it.
be played for horror because he is the personified terror of the bomb. I want to take a hot second to jump forward in time and talk about Chernobyl, both the nuclear disaster and the miniseries recounting it. I've seen some people describe the first episode as something like Lovecraftian horror, and they're totally right. The exposed reactor and the radiation it's releasing is like some otherworldly dark god. It reaches through walls, right through your skin. Looking at it will kill
she
you
got the
flat
right
out. Being in the
metaphor
same
for
building as
once.
it will make you wish you were dead. Gets into the water, the air. You could even say it's a mysterious color, unlike any seen on Earth. It's horrifying to watch if you know what's happening. It's horrifying to watch if you don't. You don't get forces like that on
That's what it's about. It's green.
You don't get
terrestrial
nuclear.
planets.
You don't get
You
nuclear.
don't get
You
them
don't.
outside.
The Pause Wars.
You don't get nuclear forces on terrestrial planets. What planets do you get them on, dear? Which one?
Suns. You get a sun.
Yeah, you would. Not a planet exactly.
I think I'm at a point where I don't even hear half the extreme bullshit that she says anymore.
Yeah, she says these weird asides, and I'm like,
my brain just skips over them at this point because it's unprocessable nonsense.
Yeah, well.
Fortunately, being charitable to her, she's not saying something egregious, like
Yeah.
she said on the video that I watched with some friends about Paradise Lost or even the Aeneid, which is horrific.
right.
Don't
Well,
don't watch
she
it.
hasn't said anything egregious so far.
Wait, what did she say about
just-
Paradise Lost?
Oh,
She said the
No,
devil
good guy.
Don't watch it. Don't watch it. It's not good.
anyway, we have
And,
ice.
and if you watch it, I'm going to pull with me to hell because I'm probably going to hell.
We do have.
Am I getting dragged?
I was just going to say that we do have nuclear forces happening all the time, and isomers and isotopes. Yes, on Earth and in every other planet where we have matter. So, anyway.
We have radioactive boars in my home state plaguing the forests.
Right.
It's totally illegal to kill. Legal to kill them.
Yes, it is, but you also can't leave the carcass in the forest. You have to actually bring it home. Well, not home, but you have to have it.
You have to
Because
analyze it and then bury it in cement because for the radiation to not spread to the earth.
Because you're not, depending on how irradiated the boar is, you can't eat it, or at least you definitely can't sell it.
Who doesn't think we live in Fallout world? Because Europe lives in Fallout world since the Chernobyl strategy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, either that or radioactive material hits whatever planet you're on.
No Liberty Prime though. That sucks. No Liberty Prime.
Oh. All right. We don't have a giant robot to fight communists, but that's okay.
I think AI is far enough that we can emulate Liberty Prime.
Or at least talk to it. Anyway.
Very real sense, the powers unleashed by a nuclear weapon or a nuclear accident are otherworldly, eldritch, incomprehensible, and extremely deadly. And that is
They're not incomprehensible anyway.
how they play
We can understand how radiation works. It's hard to understand, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, it's not. Proton decay is not impossible to grasp. It's not.
It's like being poisoned by some odorless gas.
Something you can't see.
That's
Yeah.
that's the comprehensible equivalence to it.
I will grant that your average tribal in India or in Africa probably doesn't understand the concept of something invisible killing them, but it isn't hard to grasp.
It's really simple. When it's 12 o'clock, you look up at the sun. If you do that for more than a few seconds, it hurts. Okay? It's radiation. Nuclear radiation from a star. It's just as bad in different amounts. It's the same idea. The electromagnetic spectrum versus biology is not a good matchup. So you got to watch yourself.
And while equating it to gas is technically wrong, when you explain it to people who have no concept of it or can't understand radiation, when you explain to them that it works like a poisonous gas, then that is well enough for them.
Yeah, it works as a metaphor, especially for tribals.
Yeah.
All right, good enough.
Nobody what Godzilla is for a while because he keeps killing everything that gets close. He can't be stopped by buildings or walls, weaponry has no effect on him, and anything he can't smash to pieces, he melts with the pure radiation he breathes. When he levels Tokyo, the damage he does is almost identical to what happened to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but it's slower, so you can see it all in vivid detail. Buildings crushed and burned, bystanders killed, and nothing they throw at him even slows him down. Now,
the aftermath of Hiroshima was pretty slow and horrible hell, Red. You just don't know about it, to everyone's baffled surprise.
I want to give the props for the cinematographers from the first Godzilla movie, because it's very well made.
Yeah,
for the time at least.
All right. Here is Vladimir Dragonoff again. Thanks for the 5. Unfortunately, it'll probably be a few days before I reach Alaska. Okay.
Keep up the story. I want to see if he's going to fight some other Russian guards in Siberia.
With Sambo, yeah.
He's gonna yell, "We are gay for fighting against me."
All right. Here's Gaw 004. Get better Godzilla analysis in AVGN Monster Madness. Okay. Really?
That's an oldie.
That's a really old game. Copperal again. Godzilla creators were also war criminals. Namking.
Oh, no, yeah. Nanking was a mess up stuff that Japan did.
Everywhere Japan touched in World War II was a mess up.
Look, if you don't want to have nightmares, don't read what happened in Nanking. Because it's terrible.
Don't look up Unit 731 either.
Oh no, that's
look. Yeah. This whole kind of stuff always happens when you have a people that believes to be the master race with some divine story by it, that by the gods it is somehow graced with being the rightest ever and can't do any wrong, and everyone else is subhuman. The Nazis did that, the Japanese did that, the Chinese do that to this day.
Look, the Nanking stuff was so terrifying that made the Nazis that were in China to like, okay, that's too much.
Yeah, if you make an SS officer blush with your crimes against humanity, you might get a bit overboard.
Okay.
Now, if there's one advantage Godzilla has over other allegorical narrative devices, it's that the characters in his movie are completely willing to acknowledge and talk about the thing he's an allegory for. Feels like every 5 minutes one of the characters goes, "Hey, remember the bomb? Sucked, right?" Characters outright draw the analogy between Godzilla and the bomb, and in the official lore of the movie, Godzilla is only a problem because of the bombs. Specifically, the nearby nuclear testing, like the Castle Bravo incident. The scientists in the movie explain that Godzilla's natural habitat under the ocean must have been destroyed by the H-bomb testing because the radioactive signature he's leaving behind is unique to H-bombs. Godzilla is only radioactive in the first place because of the bombs. So he's in this interesting place where in-universe he's a victim of reckless nuclear testing and attacks, but from a meta-narrative perspective he's an embodiment of those attacks, both an allegory and a victim. And if you look at the way the narrative is framed, Godzilla is not representative of the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, as is often phrased. He's representative of the nearby nuclear tests and their implications. He's the threat that Hiroshima and Nagasaki could happen again.
Wait, I'm confused. I thought she just said that he was an allegory for the
nuclear
bombs.
Irresponsibility on 2 legs, a way to embody an invisible, ephemeral terror that was unfortunately all too real. And there's actually another facet of the movie, because the only way they can find to kill Godzilla is to unleash an even worse weapon they call an oxygen destroyer. The scientist who creates it is so hell-bent on making sure it's never used in a global arms race that he burns all his notes and kills himself when they use it on Godzilla. The message is incredibly overt. These weapons are awful, they do damage in ways we can't possibly predict, it might already be too late, but we have to stop while we still can. Now this is moody. It's dark, it's tragic, it's not very hopeful. It even ends with one of the characters stating that if nuclear tests continue, there could very easily be another Godzilla. So, nobody's having a good time. So it's not all that surprising that no sequel follows this format, because this is heavy stuff. And sometimes you want a deeply tragic, terrifying movie to help you process communal trauma and warn the rest of the world against hubristic self-destruction, and sometimes you just want to watch a giant nuclear dinosaur beat up a dragon from space. So after this trend-setting kaiju movie broke onto the scene, it was followed by a parade of sequels that were almost unilaterally structured as Godzilla becomes the lesser of two evils. Pit Godzilla against another giant monster.
In the earlier movies, Godzilla was still the villain.
Heck, his third movie ever was Godzilla vs. King Kong, which is pure spectacle. On the subject of King Kong, there's think pieces about various ways it can be interpreted, but I don't think it's exactly controversial to suggest that a movie made in the 30s about a giant savage ape who is captured by white men, transported across the ocean in chains, and then abducts a white woman could possibly have some racial And for the sake of my comment section...
Racial coding? What is racial coding?
Red human woman.
I want to bring something up. So notice how Red went into all this detail about what inspired Godzilla, but she does not give Kong the same benefit. She just goes with some made up bullshit that weirdos like on the internet.
It's African tribals are bad. Yeah, there's nothing like going to explore unknown worlds. It's just tribals are bad.
Uncontrollable gorilla people.
Yeah, but if you are looking at this quick connection between Godzilla and King Kong, and she showed, well, Godzilla fights King Kong, and King Kong was all about racism, you're like, where are you getting that? Where does that come from, Red? Because I see King Kong, I see a giant kaiju, like I say with Godzilla. He just happens
because she thinks black people are apes.
Well, that's how her brain would work, I imagine.
Because if she sees an ape, she thinks, "Oh, that's the allegory for black people."
It's the same people who see orcs and see black people.
Yeah, I just want to correct something else that Red was saying earlier. She said that Godzilla becomes the lesser evil. That completely depends on which movie. Sometimes he's still the villain, and the other monster is the good guy. It's purely case by case.
Like we already gave away that we know the first Godzilla was a social commentary, but the next movies are just Godzilla destroying things or fighting against a monster who is invading Earth. There's nothing more on this social commentary, and sometimes you don't need the social commentary. It works for the first Godzilla because of the time. And I can grant that because the Japanese were scared. There was the H-bomb testings in Atoll Bikini, but in the 60s, I don't know, like things were starting to get better. The Japanese miracle of reconstructing themselves were happening. They were kind of hopeful for the future.
They moved on.
Yep.
I mean, even to this day, like the atomic bomb is not really relevant to most Japanese people nowadays because they were born after it happened.
Yep. Nowadays it's just boobs.
I just find it telling that this is a video about kaiju, and yes, we should focus on where the word came from and how it was inspired and what created it. And then she had a quick little comment on King Kong, which could technically be considered a kaiju film, not in the same vein of Godzilla, but it involves giant creatures fighting for whatever reason. And she didn't give it the right amount of backstory or setup to explain what that movie was all about in the 30s.
In a more innocent, if you want to go free interpretation, brainstorming. A more innocent interpretation would be, it's a critique of the practice of zoo animals. Because what if you bring a dangerous animal in front of a crowd and then the animal frees itself because you agitate too much? Which is how King Kong got free, because he got agitated by the crowd with all the photo shoots. He basically had an epileptic seizure. It's an epileptic seizure movie.
Yeah, that's a big problem with our modern age, is that we are not charitable with the past. We like to look at the past in a condescending way. I would try, even if it is, let's just for the sake of argument, say that it is a racist allegory, I will still dig further to try to find something that is more deeper than just black people are bad.
Plus, this movie came out in the 1930s. If they wanted to be racist against black people, they wouldn't have to hide it. They'd be a lot more blatant about it.
Oh yeah.
I refuse to accept this thing as it's an allegory for a black man in New York. No, it's a monster movie. Just shut up.
Yeah, and she
Just
further
leave
says,
it for me.
please do not try to defend the political sensitivity of a movie made
There's
in
no
1933.
Sensitivity. It's a monster
Look,
movie.
what political sensitivity? The Great Depression, because that was what happened.
He's a fucking 10-foot, 8-foot ape in New York. Whatever the hell the height he is.
I think he's a bit bigger than that, yeah.
I mean, it's not. I mean, compared to Godzilla, it's not really that.
He's giant now, but back in the day, he was not that big because he needed to scale up the Empire State.
And even then, he looks small.
Yeah, and now he's at the same size as Godzilla because of the Universal movies.
Legendary.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Anyway, that was a brief description of, not the best description of King Kong I've ever heard, but okay. Let's continue.
And she doesn't use anything to back it up. She doesn't use any interviews from the filmmakers or anything like that. She just went with the fan theory.
It's just a racist headcanon.
It's a thing that's, I guess, nowadays directors are trying to push or some bullshit.
Because they need to play victim.
Sensitivity of a movie made in 1930. The giant ape is probably racist.
No.
Okay.
Oh, it says more about you than
Red.
it does the movie. Fuck.
Look,
There's no subtext. He's an ape. No.
You are an irrational.
You're
an irrational, mean racist.
the
With
only
no more brain
thing,
cells than an orange cat.
the only deep thing that I can take out of the first King Kong is the idea of going to uncharted lands. That's the most deep I can go. Like,
okay, go on.
No, can go.
I'd say the most racist the movie gets is like when the island natives get onto the boat and kidnap, and one of the crewmen says, "Crazy black people were here." That's as far as it goes.
That's fucking tame compared to nowadays.
At least it was those crazy Anwar people were here.
I mean, and it made sense within the context of the scene because they were all the natives were all black while everybody else was like white and one Chinese guy.
Yeah, the Chinese guy was the diversity hire.
It's one thing to talk about the people and refer to them in certain racial terms that might be acceptable during the 30s or whenever they decided to put this film in. But to say that King Kong is a racial stereotype or whatever is more telling of her interpretation, not any other commentary that she's referring to. She's just saying it out of the blue.
Yeah, that's the main problem.
Okay, I also noticed somebody on Twitter tried to defend Red by bringing up that joke from Inglourious Bastards where they also make the racist allegory, yeah. And I'm just like, oh, okay, you reference a movie, okay, that's your source. All right, case closed.
You are sourcing a movie from the 2000s that somehow proves that a movie from the 30s is racist.
Not to mention it's a Tarantino movie who is infamous for using the N-word in a lot of his movies.
Yeah, I swear Pulp Fiction was just one big excuse for him to say the N-word with a hard R.
Yep.
I can respect that, to be honest.
Well, he wasn't happy enough. He had to
away
make
with it.
Django, so that was enough.
Oh, God.
N-words.
In Django, Samuel Jackson would say N-word machine.
It's like every sentence, you got to have that N-word.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I still don't think. I still don't know what to think of Inglorious Bastards.
Probably.
It's a jerk off movie.
all right, okay.
It is most Tarantino movies here are jerk off movies.
Yeah, but usually with more finesse.
Okay. Anyway, let's continue.
Okay, moving on. Now, the thing is, King Kong didn't shake his allegorical implications as easily as Godzilla did. While Godzilla got sequels and character development aplenty,
there's no allegorical.
Wait, no, pause. You can't even call those sequels. They're barely even the same ape. They're literally not even the same ape in King Kong.
Yeah, so let's see. King Kong had.
Go on, Kaiser.
Let's see. King Kong had the sequel Son of Kong. Then the 70s remake had a sequel, King Kong Lives. Then you had King Kong versus Godzilla, and then I think Toho and Rankin Bass worked together and made a King Kong cartoon as well as the movie King Kong Escapes. So there's a lot of King Kong stuff. Oh yeah, there's a Peter Jackson movie, and then there's that really weird Kong animated series that came out in the 2000s.
They had a Rankin Bass. No, the 2000s one doesn't seem weird. It's more the Rankin Bass made one.
Yep.
It shouldn't be that hard to make a King Kong movie. Every attempt to remake King Kong met with some backlash because of something that the director did. Even the Peter Jackson movie that I give the arm of grace because I really like his concept of the Skull Island. Even that met with backlash because I don't know what people want with King Kong.
I love the Peter Jackson movie. It's amazing. I will die on it. I will die on a hill defending that movie.
Yeah, I like it too. It's kind of long, but it's not unbearable.
I wonder what she means by nothing really stuck. Like, did she want to create an entire genre out of King Kong, like they did with?
No. I think she meant that the sequels didn't met the standard that the first King Kong movies did.
Really? Okay.
That's my hypothesis. I don't know if she meant this. That's what I get from her.
If you make a series of films that still has King Kong in the title, I think that's a pretty successful idea that people are coming back to for whatever reason. So,
and the Empire State Building scene is the iconic one that stuck. Maybe the rest of the franchise didn't, but
yeah. I don't know what she's trying to say. Anyway, there are other King Kong films out there, so I don't know what the big deal is.
Really stuck, and as long as the movies were following the original format, they were stuck with either the allegorical baggage of large ape man becomes obsessed with and kidnaps white woman, or the alternative version where the white lady is into it, so it's consensual. I don't know anyone who was
She's not into him in the Peter Jackson movie.
Godzilla, meanwhile, underwent a...
Look, the woman just see King Kong as a animal that somehow have interest in her. It's not a sexual thing.
Yeah, in the Peter Jackson movie, she does not have a thing for the ape. She sees him as a misunderstood creature. At first, she's terrified of him, but then after he saves her from dinosaurs, she starts to realize he's not so bad. And then Kong takes her to the cave where he lives. You see the skeletons of other members of his species, and you realize that this guy's he's lonely.
Yeah, that's the thing. All of Skull Island within the Peter Jackson movie, it's a island that is going to sink on the sea, and every species that is there, it's doomed to death. And even the King Kong species, because they were always fighting against the Venator Rex, and because they had a slow process of reproduction, they were a doomed species from the beginning. I don't think that you could save the King Kong species.
Yeah, the supplemental material for the movie is really interesting. So apparently Skull Island used to be like this huge continent. Like the natives used to be a very advanced culture, but because they were located on several tectonic plates, the continent just slowly started sinking into the ocean. So when we see the natives in the movie, we're just seeing their culture standing on its last leg. They're a hollow shell of what they used to be.
We must not forget that Red cannot understand the difference between sexual and non-sexual relationships. So it is understandable that she would think that the woman would be into the Kong abduction thing. That's how her brain works.
A shame.
His turn. Over the course of nearly a dozen sequels, of two evils to cranky protector of the earth. His most significant character development came in Destroy All Monsters, where he teams up with every other kaiju in the world to fight noted three-headed space dragon King Ghidorah, after which point every appearance is functionally fully benevolent. He's still cranky, and he gives humans the stink eye whenever they pollute and stuff, but this Godzilla is basically a giant, grumpy Captain Planet. He's a protector of the earth. He only squishes things out.
Call him Captain Planet? He's better than Captain Planet.
In the current remakes of both Godzilla and King Kong, the
Captain Planet's a
protagonists kaiju are
communist.
functionally Gaia's
Godzilla
vengeance,
isn't.
protectors of nature, disturbed from their peace or hibernation exclusively by human intervention and the occasional evil space dragon. And with King Kong, it's kind of flipped his allegorical implications from good old 30s racism to a kind of anti-colonialist message, where he's this noble and wondrous
Really?
being
What the
in his
fuck?
home habitat and shouldn't be taken
What
away
the
or
fuck
harmed.
are you
It's like
mumbling
only
about?
pictures.
Not
Only
re-
footprints. Visit scenic Skull Island today. Now this character drift is convenient, because unlike the terror of the bomb allegory, or, good old 30s racism, this characterization gives the kaiju a moral compass and makes the protagonists be
All
on
of-
their side. And
Racism is all that's on her mind.
Climate change, too.
What's the vibe or theme or I don't know the understanding of 1930s specifically for racism? I can't think of a specific example.
I don't know, Jim Crow shenanigans or whatever,
really?
N-word.
The South.
I mean, Jim Crow was in the South, though.
It's automatic. When Red sees an ape, she thinks black people allegory. When she sees island somewhere in the ocean, she thinks colonialism. It's
Apparently.
automatic. There's no
Reminder
other
that
way. There's no other
decolonization-
meaning.
Reminder that decolonization is a terrible thing and I don't support it.
on their side, instead of hopeless and powerless in the face of unfeeling nuclear Armageddon. Or not white people. With this kind of kaiju narrative, it's less existential.
What is she talking about? Not white people.
I don't know. She's going in this whatever stuff, stopping talking about kaijus.
Yeah, Red, we understand you hate being born without dense melanin counts, but you don't need to be a miser on your own people.
I'm quite sure many countries right now have nuclear weapons and can equally do the same damage that was done.
We don't.
Well, there's plenty.
No, because we don't trust you Germans to have nuclear weapons.
There's like 5 major countries that have them, so it's like
Find them in
We built
Yeah.
a bunch of nuclear submarines for Israel.
oh yeah, that's true. Okay.
Yeah, but you guys don't use it.
Yeah, we
How do we
don't have
know?
any of our own.
How do we know we're not going to find the nukes in the salt mines?
No, that's true.
No. In the salt mines, that's where we put our nuclear waste, not the
Oh.
nuclear bombs.
All right.
But either way, it's the evil white people. And you're like, what? Okay.
Look, she's trying to talk about a trope, but she's more talking about her interpretation of the trope rather than the trope itself. Like, what is the trope? It's a giant monster, and that's it. It can be an alien monster, it can be a natural monster, or even a human-made monster, which would be like a golem or a Frankenstein, a giant Frankenstein. But there's no other implication on the trope.
Maybe she's running off the colonization example. I don't know where this is coming from. Anyway.
Well, more Captain Planet. More conflicts, only the good people have the power of Godzilla and anime on their side. Gee, I wonder why anyone would want to write something like that. Wish fulfillment?
Oh, no, the
Probably,
Japanese
but-
movies
so
never
kaiju
did
movies
that.
ask the question, what would humanity do in the face of something terrifyingly powerful, unthinkably enormous, and functionally unstoppable?
Build
Godzilla answered
giant
it with die a
robots.
lot and then risk a global arms race to destroy it once and for all. The post-1954 sequels answered it with cheer from the sidelines while it beats up something worse. And the post-2014 remakes doubled down into leave the kaiju alone and they will solve all your problems, including global warming. And listen, I loved King of
What-
the Monsters.
not
I love
really.
spectacle fighting. But this character
Wait,
drift
what?
can have very
Pause,
weird-
pause,
You see
pause
the
there.
same movie?
She loves King of the Monsters.
because of the global warming message.
I don't think I can take her serious anymore.
You did?
That's my last straw. I
Wait.
don't. if you like King of the Monsters, I don't think your opinion is worth it, listening.
So
I don't know. You seem to like my opinion, Matthias.
well, no, I'm just saying. In that film, whatever she likes, the monsters can cure what, CO2 in the atmosphere?
Yeah, they eat CO2.
They eat gaseous CO2. Okay. And that cures something somehow?
Yeah. So the way that movie worked is that the monsters all have some kind of hierarchy system. There's one monster that's, well, the titular king of the monsters.
The alpha.
And so all the weaker monsters obey him, do whatever he says.
Yeah.
Is it
And
like...
so Ghidorah starts off as, I guess, that monster king in the movie, but because Ghidorah is an evil creature who's not even from Earth, he makes all the monsters just fuck the Earth up. Then Godzilla kills Ghidorah, and so the other monsters now obey him.
Yeah.
So...
I don't even criticize the fact that Godzilla goes against Ghidorah, because that's what people want to see. I don't like the movie because of the humans. Like, the humans are the most boring and bad part of it.
I know.
Well, you could say the same thing about every Godzilla movie. This movie's not really all that different. Now, if we're talking about the 2014 movie, yeah, I'd agree with you. Yeah, the humans were extremely boring in that movie.
The only person I liked in the 2014 Godzilla movie was Bryan Cranston's character.
And he died.
I know, but like he was like the best human character in that movie, and they kill him off at the halfway point.
It was too dark for me to even see the fucking thing. I thought he died because the fucking... Yeah, I thought he was on one of the...
they recently released...
Bryan Cranston was too
find
expensive.
really
They only had him
weird.
for the trailer.
Yeah.
I find really weird that she didn't mention Pacific Rim. Like, with the answer to Pacific Rim is building giant robots to punch monsters. Like, it's that easy to understand, but I don't think she doesn't want to mention it.
I'm just imagining these giant creatures that fly somewhere in the stratosphere, just passively inhaling all the air, the low amount of air there, and it just happens to be CO2, like the 0.04% of CO2. They're like, oh yes, CO2.
We're not even yet at optimal plant levels for CO2.
I don't know what these filmmakers have in their brains if they don't understand basic
Optimal CO2 levels for plants.
physics. It's just baffling.
Honestly, that's the only thing people remembers about, Godzilla King of the Monsters is that stupid plot line about, the monsters are going to save the Earth, like if we release them all. It's like, that's the only thing people remember about that stupid movie.
Yeah, because they don't think about, hey, maybe we want to survive on the planet, not by... Like, what is the point of saving the planet when we're not around anymore?
Yeah. It's kind of funny. Just imagine...
the planet doesn't give a shit.
Well, imagine all the other gases.
Maybe because the planet is not even alive. That's why it doesn't give it a shit.
If the planet has enough of a problem with us, it'll get it. If you believe there's this whole Gaia consciousness thing going on, and the planet is really pissed at us, it will get rid of us. Don't worry. You don't need to do the planet's job for it.
Wisp. That's pretty much the plot to that Netflix anime trilogy, the one where Godzilla destroys the world and humanity goes out into space and they come back thousands of years later.
And Godzilla's still alive.
Yeah, Godzilla is literally a giant walking tree.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch that.
That sounds bad. That sounds really bad.
Anyway.
It's horrible. It's shit.
Rather reread Berserk.
And that's our very first Godzilla anime ever made. And Singular Point was.
I'm sorry,
better.
Copper. I don't respect your opinion if you like King of the Monsters.
Anyway, thank you for the super chat,
to each
Copper.
their own.
We already got to it, so I'm not going to repeat myself because Mateus got to me first. Anyway, we are 11 minutes and a half in, and
we can do it.
I guess so.
We can do it.
Let's finish this.
I mean, the remakes take Godzilla, terror of nuclear devastation, and without removing any of his nuclear power or radioactivity, makes his strongest advocate a middle-aged Japanese man who was personally affected by the very event Godzilla represents. The character of Serizawa exists in the remakes to metatextually remind the audience of Godzilla's Japanese roots, and very specifically...
No, by women logic, that is him being directly affected. Because, it's like this millions of men died in the war, women most affected.
I am my children.
Men are not having sex. Women most affected.
I represent children as well as my husband and my mom and my dad. I'm the same thing. All right, I guess.
With my rambling, irrational nonsense, I speak for everyone.
This is fan service right up until Serizawa dies by May.
What? How is this fan service? Do you know what fan service is?
Go back. Let's hear that in context. Go back.
All right.
Of Godzilla's Japanese roots, and very specifically his connection to the bombing. This is cute, I think. It's fan service right up until Serizawa dies by manually detonating a nuke to revive Godzilla. And this is treated as catharsis for his character because the nukes he hates and fears were used for good, but the good it did is reviving a giant monster who originally represented the very thing that scarred this character in the first place. But he doesn't represent that in this movie, but Serizawa's character is meant to remind us of a time when he did. So, is this cool?
I didn't even understand what you said.
She's looking at this through a meta perspective instead of like in universe.
Well, like you said, I think who was it? Caesar that said that she got it wrong that he was the product of the Japanese the bombing in Japan, but it was actually his dad. Like he holds on to that watch that was his father's. He even explains it in the movie that I think it was in the 2014 one.
Yeah,
he explains that was his dad's watch, and it officially stopped ticking when the bomb hit. I think it was Nagasaki,
Hiroshima.
Oh, Hiroshima. I'm sorry. It's been a long time since I've seen the 2014 one.
That is tragedy and horror, and here you have the closing where the same thing is used for something good because Godzilla is the thing that saves us, which is not what you thought before. You can think of it as harnessing the incomprehensible horror and now wielding it like a tool in a very, very, very rough manner. But what she calls fan service, maybe an attempt at member berries, maybe an attempt at consistency in reference, but not fan service.
Okay. Well,
Miss Trope Talk does not understand what tropes are.
Or that specific
we know
trope.
that.
And I think didn't she cover that trope? It must have been her or someone else talked about fan service.
I don't think so.
I don't remember.
Oh, I repressed the memory.
All right. I know we covered it. I know we know what fan service is. This is not fan service.
We do. The alleged asexual woman claims to.
Yeah.
Wait, if she's asexual, then why the hell is she married?
Don't ask.
I don't know.
Good question.
None of our business.
This is why I have a hard time accepting asexuality as a concept.
She's married, but she doesn't like sex.
Well,
okay.
Maybe she's a plant organism. We don't know yet. Anyway.
But even plants have sex.
Okay.
Remotely, yes.
Manipulative? What is this? Is this America taking a Japanese anti-nuclear weapons narrative and twisting it to be completely pro-nuclear weapons to forgive themselves for what they've done? What is happening here? The Allegories all twisted up on itself, and while it's a beautifully done scene, the more you think about it, the weirder it gets.
No, you're just a woman.
See, that's why Tolkien. Look, I think that's the best meme so far in this video.
This was not made for women. It's fine. You don't have to understand it later.
It was not made for you.
This is a show for kids and men who like things and monsters and blowing things up. That's all.
But they try to appeal to the magical nonsense thinking of women by having the woman character be about all the save the planet by killing humanity thing, which women are really into, I've noticed.
Oh, yeah?
I think they like this idea of being the arbiters of life and death, and it is usually everyone else who has to die and not them themselves. They don't lead by example.
Well, next time I watch the Women's Network, I'll try and find the Godzilla flick playing at some time slot.
Kyoger's Hideout said what I was thinking. She's really reading into it. I don't think that was the the intention of the director.
Hey, so I guess fuck, I forgot how to talk. So in universe, in the 2014 movie, Serizawa didn't want the U.S. government using nukes to kill Godzilla and the Muto. He doesn't like the concept of nuclear weapons because of Hiroshima. But then in the second movie, he uses a nuke because he's trying to supercharge Godzilla. Godzilla feeds off of radiation in this universe.
All right.
And Godzilla got fatally injured after the U.S. government dropped the oxygen destroyer on him.
So he's a mushroom.
He's basically Superman, yeah.
Yes,
Superman
he's
is a mushroom?
Yeah.
Oh, an orc.
Yeah. The difference is that he doesn't reproduce through spores.
Not yet.
Anyway, let's keep going.
Anyway, terrifying giant monsters and making them benevolent is a very appealing way to answer the question of how would humanity handle this, because it changes the question right at the source. Well, these things...
Thanks for That's not a... Are you... No, honey. That's not how questions and answers work.
We don't need to handle them. They're not functionally unstoppable forces of malevolence. They're just misunderstood. And they don't kill innocent bystanders indiscriminately. At worst, it's an accident. And if there are monsters that are actively malevolent and kill people we like, there's always a good monster there to fight them. Godzilla isn't an embodiment of nuclear Armageddon.
Man, I wish illegal immigration worked like that.
Look. Why there is always a bad monster, and why the chaotic neutral force, which is the other giant monster, have to fight it? Because that's what people want. They want monsters fighting each other. That's why they watch this type of movies.
Yeah,
we need a
nothing else.
In the movie.
We need the good drug cartel leader who kills all the other drug cartel leaders coming across the border.
That's another movie I'm going to make with Daily Wire. I'm going to call Ben Shapiro and we'll go say, hey, let's make a drug cartel war.
We need to solve the border crisis.
The Ghost and the Darkness didn't have any good monsters. It only had bad ones.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah, it was.
Go watch the Ghost and the Darkness.
All right. We're almost done. 4 more minutes.
We getting there.
And also maybe nukes are a good thing. Good guys. Because if there's one thing nuclear Armageddon is known for, it's discerning judgment. And honestly, I think that's a big part of why those recent movies fell a little flat. They've got all the flair and much better...
We're part of nature.
83%.
Oh, you're quoting the critics, or you're citing the critics.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the critics didn't like it, but the fans loved it. Like, all right, whatever.
We all know the Rotten Tomato critics are sellouts.
Yeah,
because there's no...
If you're analyzing a film like she's doing, she's probably one of the critics going, I didn't like it either.
Critic opinions haven't mattered for a couple of years at this point.
If she can't grasp the concept of I want to heal the monster with the nuclear bomb, and then she has a tirade like, well, is the bomb good now because you're using it as a healing device? Like, I don't understand. It's like, honey, it's not that complicated. It's
just to save the monster who will fight the other monster.
Anyway.
Graphics, but none of the weight. These kaiju don't mean anything. Instead of embodying some primal terror that'll resonate uncomfortably well with the audience, they're just saying, hey guys, wouldn't it be rad if a giant monster came and fixed global warming for us?
The kaiju
by destroying humanity!
Red!
Where's your brain?
I know this sounds like a whataboutism, but like, okay, why is she exclusively giving the legendary movies crap for this, and just leaving the Japanese movies alone? You know, they also do this stupid mindless action.
Yep.
Also, Legendary have the other kaiju movie, which is Pacific Rim, and she's not mentioning it.
Not yet. She's about to.
She hasn't watched Space Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla 2.
Maybe because that doesn't exist.
I think it was a double feature they made.
But I
found a DVD that is the two movies together. So maybe that they made a double feature out of it after all.
Yeah,
maybe. I can't
does,
believe that.
Sony did release some of the movies in 2-pack DVDs.
And listen, I will make the giant lizard destroy ancient Rome movie. Watch it. I will make that.
Pitch it to Guillermo del Toro. He might like it.
And be rad, but it's very unlikely. But to stand against the tide of meaningless, empty spectacle, to raise a fist skyward in solitary defiance and say, if humanity were faced with an onslaught of malevolent, unstoppable giant monsters, humanity would make giant robots to punch those giant monsters in the face. So let's talk about Pacific Rim. Guillermo del Toro is a man who understands monsters.
He's not even going to mention Gamera.
Between humanity and inhumanity, and he knows that sometimes a person is a monster, sometimes a monster is a person, and sometimes a monster is a monster. You got Hellboy in the Shape of Water and Blade 2, apparently, where he explores inhuman monsters.
What, Mike? Mike?
I think Mike had a stroke.
Mike?
We're going off the rails. Go back. Red, why are we not going? Fuck Kaiju Trope Talk? Yeah, why is Hellboy being mentioned? Stay on track, Red.
It's to explain that she has a heart for Guillermo del Toro because he makes pretty movies.
Yes, we get it. We all know he makes good movies, but it's like, Jesus, just Kaiju talk. I don't want. If it's not Pacific Rim, shut up then.
I want to see how she will misunderstand Pacific Rim, because Pacific Rim, Guillermo del Toro already said that it's just robots fighting alien monsters. That's it.
Yeah, but she has to reference all his other films she likes because, I don't know, she just has to.
Not all of them. She didn't mention Book of Life, which she probably finds horribly racist against Mexicans.
But Guillermo del Toro is Mexican.
Have you seen the movie? It's so full of stereotypes.
It's by the guy who made the one show, Tigre, I think.
And I like Book of Life. I think it is a very good movie. I prefer it to the Disney movie, although the Disney movie is not that bad too. But I prefer Book of Life.
All right.
The only thing I despise is the mariachi band that is deliberately ugly.
All right, here is 2 super chats I missed from three from Vladimir. Silence or Slicense woman? How are you spelled?
License woman? Yeah. You don't talk here.
That's like the Italian way of asking for pizza and as well as for the lady to shut her mouth. So anyway,
license woman, cut the pizza.
The other one is we need a good serial killer that only goes after bad serial killers. Oh my God! It's as if they already made a film or a series like that called Dexter.
Wasn't that
Dexter?
What Dexter? I think
It's Dexter. Yeah.
Also, the end of Dexter is bad. I was really pissed off at the ending.
Yeah.
I only saw the first.
How bad we're talking?
On a scale from 0 to Game of Thrones, I would say.
No. We need to Smud. We need to increase the scale.
0 to Game of Thrones, so 0 to 0.1.
No, 0 to fucking Attack on Titan levels. No,
that's...
So 0 to 2.
Okay, well, you guys saw it, so I don't know. Anyway, yeah, no, the ending wasn't that good. One more. We need a big spider to control the other spiders and a bigger spider to police the big spider. Oh my God.
Can't we just drop a fucking firebomb and call it a day?
I think that plan can work. I think that plan can work. Big spider versus small spider versus big spider.
No, because then it's just you're stuck with the fucking big spider then at that point. And then now you got to get
Can
another
you get
thing.
another speak spider?
It's the goddamn Dr. Seuss book. You get one thing to get rid of one problem. It all keeps starting over.
I'm trying to remember the name of the Trinity Blood. That was the anime where they had a vampire who sucks the blood out of other vampires.
That is called Diablerie.
Oh, sorry, what was it called?
Diablerie.
Really?
Yes.
It was actually a Russian.
You played Masquerade. You should know that.
I try to remember all the terms, but this was like a Russian name.
Also, have you saw the paradox? The second game will not be a direct sequel to Vampire the Masquerade.
Really?
Yeah, it's a standalone game. It's
course it
its own story.
But they're calling it number 2.
Bloodlines 2. They are calling Bloodlines 2.
But it's not a sequel.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably not even in the same system, but this new woke vampire system.
Oh God! All right, whatever. Kruzniks. That's what they were called. Kruzniks. Yeah. Trinity Blood. Weird anime vampire story. Anyway, 3 minutes left.
Let's go.
Protagonists that are fundamentally people on the inside.
Protagonists are fundamental. I love her crazy statements. They're just
the kaiju are definitely not people.
Nah,
They're just
at
mindless
best
killing machines.
animals.
I thought they were modified aliens that were turned into kaiju.
Yeah, they are. They are clones made to destroy the world that the masters want to conquer.
All right.
I haven't watched Blade 2. The point is, sometimes his monsters are people, and sometimes they're monsters. And when they're monsters, they're usually allegorical. Del Toro went on record stating that the Pale Man, a child-eating antagonist in Pan's Labyrinth, represents institutional evil feeding on the helpless, and outright says it's no coincidence that it's a pale man. Bold. So when
Cringe. Also, that's only one example from his entire library of movies.
That doesn't mean the kaiju. That doesn't mean the kaiju are like the Russian Empire trying to conquer everything, or whatever shit allegorical stuff.
How does the paleness play into that?
He's too white. He's a white guy.
Have you any idea what the other races on the planet are doing to children?
Well,
I don't think
I don't even want to spell it out.
I think she saw on the last Saturday, but I don't think she. I want to give the grace of charity to her, and I think she probably condemned what happened, but I don't know. I could be wrong.
What are you talking about?
You mentioned what the other races do to children, and I was talking about what happened on Saturday.
Anyway, let's not get into that.
Horror to make a badass action. He made the monsters mean something. The protagonist Raleigh at one point describes being in a Jaeger as being powerful enough to fight a hurricane and win. That humans face down colossal, mind-numbingly destructive threats and respond by making themselves big and strong enough to fight it hand to hand. It's a very uplifting message about human nature, the power of teamwork, and how nothing is strong enough to keep us down if we decide to fight back. Pacific Rim is a movie about human...
It's big robots.
Or maybe Del Toro just wanted to do Godzilla versus Evangelion.
Pacific
Just
Rim.
that
Just love this line. Pacific Rim is a movie about humans being human. What?
You
Oh,
not
shit.
humanity.
What are you talking about? What?
Look,
Mary
Pacific
Poppins
Rim-
in a story about nurses being nurses or whatever the hell she is.
Nanny.
Nannies being nannies.
Dogs being dogs.
What the hell? You put a human in a film, they become human. Oh my god, it's amazing. Humans are so human. This is so, what kind of statement is that? The cherry is a cherry. Thanks. Yeah, we get
Would
it.
you extend this to every mecha franchise?
Dude, she would have a heyday with Gundam, because Gundam have the awesome giant robots, but it's filled with the war crime shit.
Oh, she'd probably hate Gundam for making the Zeons the bad guys. Like, come on, they just want independence from the Federation. Why are they Nazi allegories?
They don't like the idea that maybe the rebellion is not good.
Anyway, here we go. One more from Vladimir. Thank you, sir. So instead of humans versus space bugs, it's humans versus space bugs, but a second group of space bugs help fight the first group of space bugs. Oh, yeah. I see what...
I like that idea. I'm going to steal from you, Vladimir. I'm going to make a movie about this.
It has nothing to do with Ender's Game or anything by other science fiction stories we might have heard about.
How are you funding all of this, Matthews?
I have a drug cartel.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
Cocaine and hookers. It's all it takes. Okay, let's keep going. Why am I counting out the minutes? Oh, God.
Well, we're in the final 2 minutes of insanity.
So the monsters are monsters.
Thank you. That's the fourth time you've said this.
Monsters are monsters.
Wait, I'm sorry. Am I going...
Bold take, I gotta say.
Is she actually... there's no
I thought they're poor victims of animal abuse.
Yes, the poor kaijus.
The poor clones. They are programmed. They are programmed to kill everything.
Okay, we have one more tautology. I'm going to just stop this video. This is getting stupid.
Or specific hurricanes. It's no coincidence they're given cute nicknames from 1 to 5. And specifically, in universe, they're part of a hostile terraforming effort from an extra-dimensional race of colonizing aliens. The Kaiju in Pacific Rim are, in the most literal sense, climate change, and that they are physically changing the climate, battering down coastal...
Have I forgotten about this part with the changing the climate stuff, or is she making that up?
Or they're just making, or maybe the movie
this
just gave the monsters categories like a storm because some are more dangerous than others.
Well,
And it's as simple as that.
I'm glad that she made the distinction of physically being climate change as opposed to like romantically or metaphorically or symbolically or maybe on weekends. You know, it's like physically. Oh, that changes everything, dear. That's great. I'm glad you clarified that adjective or the adverb to specify.
Again, Pacific Rim is another world that I wouldn't want to live. Although Brazil doesn't have coasting in the Pacific, so I would probably be okay.
I'd be confused if you said
Brazil would have to deal with the knockoff movie Atlantic Rim.
That's funny. I heard about that.
Well, now I need to watch it just to see how shit it is.
Oh, you didn't know about that one?
Yeah, it's wild.
No, the first time hearing about.
Okay.
All right.
Classic asylum stuff.
Down coastal cities like hurricanes strengthened by warming waters, poisoning the oceans with chemical spilled blood, overwhelming storm...
Chemical spill blood?
Yeah, the kaijus. The kaijus are blood is not.
Okay.
Is have a different composition than ours.
It's like Alien. They got acid blood or whatever, or the Predator.
Yeah. But for some reason, kaiju poop make farms yield more.
Oh yeah, they're super fertilizer. All right, cool.
Walls built in anticipation of much smaller threats. Hell, Charlie Day's character outright draws the comparison, suggesting that human-made climate change has already done most of the alien terraforming, and now they're just sending in the kaiju for the finishing touch. Essentially, humans accelerated the process of the aliens changing the climate. Do you get it? Okay.
Yeah, it's not that big.
So it's the aliens' fault.
Global existential threat personified, raising the stakes by making the
So they were
threat
just going to
lots of
invade
kaiju
us
instead of just
anyway,
one,
so
and
it's
makes the
not
danger they
really our
represent
fault
immediate and
entirely.
extremely relevant. It sends the message.
What is this entire... Red, you must explain to me one thing. If climate change is the super bad thing that kills humanity, so it's an existential threat for us, why then, in order to stop climate change, are many of these movies, including a lot of your ideology, in favor of exterminating humanity? That's stupid. That defeats the purpose of fighting the thing. You don't fight the thing by doing what the thing wants of you. What the fuck?
Message that made this happen. And yes, things are very bad.
No.
But it also says that-
Pause there.
Yes.
We didn't make the kaijus come to here. Okay. We made the plant more succinct, more hospitable to them, but they are invading us. Like, we are defending ourselves.
It's our fault for having an open borders policy where they just opened the rift in the Pacific that we just didn't do anything about.
RIP.
Back. If we put aside our differences, ignore all our useless political squabbling, focus on the only thing that really matters, and then confront the
Fighting socialism?
apocalypse head on, we will be able to punch it into submission. And also drop a nuke on it. Kaiju movies can never agree if nukes are good or bad. Anyway, the point is,
this is not a Godzilla movie.
Make
Shut the
statements
fuck
about
up.
The world, the things that scare us, and what we can do about them. And as a result, are often extremely political when you look at them. Sometimes they say we can't do anything about them.
Where's
Sometimes they say the
Gamera?
problems are
Where's
our
the
fault.
beast
Sometimes
from
they bounce back
20,000
to wish
Fathoms?
fulfillment and imagine a world where the giant unstoppable force is a good thing that'll fix our giant unfixable problems. And sometimes they say it's up to us to work together and face the problem head on, to admit that things are bad and to fight to the very end to make them better again. And also, sometimes it's just fun to watch two incomprehensibly giant monsters kick the crap out of each other. Oh, hell yeah! So yeah.
Woman, you only used 3 examples.
At the end, you finally understood it.
Congratulations, Red. You made your movie video useless, because that's the main reason people watch kaiju movies. It's just to see two monsters fighting.
Oh god.
Yeah.
These people pay for this stuff.
Oh my god. Oh, all right. I think my leg fell asleep. Oh.
Anyway, I gotta play some Pathfinder now just to clean my eyes.
Not yet. We have memes.
Oh yeah, the stream memes. I can't forget those. Let's see what we got here. Always a little dessert after this wonderfully delicious meal of nonsense. Okay. What is the allegory behind this kaiju from Ultraman Gaia? Oh my. That is I don't know.
Capitalism.
The Sauron eye? I don't know.
Big Brother?
It's an allegory for Orwellianism.
There you
The
go.
government spying on people.
Let's go with that.
So it's
And
socialism.
It has blue eyes because white man bad.
And here, I don't think this is physically possible, but apparently Godzilla is flying through the air by breathing outside.
Yeah, like a Nautilus.
Yeah, he's off to get Hedorah.
All right, and here we have Pokemon.
Yeah, that's an Ultra Charizard, I think.
That's a giant Charizard. Holy crap!
Yeah, it's a Dynamax, a Gigantamax Charizard.
All right. What else we got here? We got a poster. Something versus
Godzilla versus Space Godzilla.
What is this?
Space.
Godzilla versus Space Godzilla.
Cool.
And Mechagodzilla. And Baby Godzilla.
This type will be an insectoid
And
type
Mothra.
alien with a rugged carapace, 4 arms, vicious claws, and some big old titties.
Mad Dr. Charisma. You are going to the horny jail.
What's this?
That's Bowser.
Giant Bowser.
Kaiju Bowser. Okay. And that is corny as hell. Okay, that's as bad as Terminator 3, I think.
That's a lot of movement in the face.
Super hot Jalen. Yeah, I remember that.
What is going on? Oh my god. She's expanding. Her whole body's
She became a kaiju.
and her clothing changed. Everything changed. She just morphed on screen. All right. I mean, I keep watching that, but we got to keep going. You saved me. What? Monkey.
Oh no.
We got. Oh, that's clever.
Gamera tank.
He's just riding a tank. And that, I don't know what that is. That's interesting.
Yeah,
violin?
it worked.
Yeah.
So we found the movie she watched.
A violin, or some sort of wood instrument shaped monster. Apparently 2 movies. Okay. Double
It's
feature.
a double feature.
Yeah.
I'm sure they made a double feature out of it because it had one title.
Yeah. I've seen that in the 80s with some of the broadcasting stations in Toronto. They would do stuff like that, but they wouldn't tell you what it was. They would just say, "We have a special tonight coming at 12:30. You gotta be there to know." And you're like, "What is it?" And you find out what the action film is. And you're like, "Oh, it's Bond from the 60s." Uranium 2. Oh my God. No, that's not what you want to do.
Nah, they will be fine.
Here is an American nuclear family composed of mother, father, and 2 children. Note that the large yellow kid with the poor complexion is not a member of the nuclear family.
Just
Thanks for the notes. All right.
yeah, and here's Homer being Godzilla and King Kong.
All right. Good stuff. And then, oh my God, that's terrifying.
That's Proto Godzilla in Shin Godzilla.
Oh.
Yep.
He looks retarded.
Yes.
Nuke Ular.
Not
It's
wrong. He's
pronounced Nuke Ular. Are we still doing this stupid thing?
There are
Nuke
lots of
Ular.
people who still do it.
Yeah.
We can see.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, Jimmy Olsen. Oh no, Jimmy, I warned you not to experiment with that growth ray. It's turned
I
you.
could tell you the context of the microwave scene.
It's turned you into a super menace, and now I must remove you from the earth.
Dan, that's not being Superman, eh? Superman.
Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen Comics. All right.
Just 10, but just 10 cents. All times that will not come back.
All right. What is happening with Teen Titans? I don't remember this scenario.
Oh, it's
Radioactive
Red Star.
Russian.
Oh.
I
Cool.
think that guy's supposed to be the original Starfire character.
And this,
That's in no way related to the alien girl Starfire.
this is like Secret of Nim level of animatronics and makeup.
Wait. Are you looking at the thing that looks like a dragon?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What
Destroyer.
Godzilla is that?
That's Destroyer. It's Destroyer or Destroyer.
Okay.
Destoroyah.
That is literally the what's it called? The consequence of the oxygen destroyer.
Oh, okay. They just took that piece of lore and ran with it. While you were, what? What's this whale and what is?
Because Japan still do whale hunt.
Oh,
Yeah. In South Park, it was the whales who dropped the atomic bombs. That's why they hunt whales.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why Kantai Collection is a thing where they fight whale monsters.
Yeah, apparently that episode was banned in Japan.
All right. If you look at this and see this, then you're not racist. If you look at this and see this, then yeah, you're super racist.
Yep, basically.
The people who keep talking
Why do
about
I see
race
4 orcs?
seem to have race on their heads a lot for some reason.
Yep.
And
I don't understand that orcs are not an allegory for black people, but for tribal culture.
This is
The old Germanic tribes were basically orcs as well.
I think this is DC cartoon. I don't know what's going
No,
on.
that's Ben 10. Ben 10, Ben have a giant
it's a
alien.
destroyer.
He's doing an Ultraman.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, this alien is an homage to Ultraman.
Right.
I don't remember the name of the race. I should remember another day.
Oh God, what is this?
That's Vosh.
Yeah, I know, but what is going on here? King Kong racism allegory because monkey what? You might also
He's saying that people who doesn't see racism in King Kong is probably media illiterate.
really.
How is it illiterate? It's a fucking monster movie. People come for the big ape. What's wrong with that? You know?
I wouldn't trust the guy who's into horse cocks onto interpretations of animal characters.
All right, I'm not going to read that. Forget that. I
Mucho
remade
texto.
Godzilla in Lego, but I'm not at home. Okay.
Looks like a very convincing shooting of Godzilla because it's like that.
We got. Oh yeah, okay, that's cute. I like what they did there. Bowser looks pretty good.
Kaiju Bowser.
That's
Giga Bowser.
It has expanded. Yeah, this is what you're talking about, that girl. What is happening here? Oh.
Homer
It's the-
ate.
yeah.
He hates meters.
Seeing Homer eats good old.
Okay, Matt.
That's the
Here we
Simpsons
go.
King Kong episode.
Well, that's not terrifying. Jesus. Bunch of skeletons
game
as a
is-
mouth. Holy jeez. What the hell did I just watch?
Yeah, what game is that?
I want to know. That was kind of freaky. Whoever posted that, Mr.
Kaiju.
G4 detonator?
Kaiju flesh.
Gene Gentry. It's still your video, your work, and your claim. You didn't give the 90-year film King Kong a pass, so why should critics give your 3-year-old video one? Another day, another checks notes. Twitter firestorm about a 3-year-old video that references a 90-year-old media cold take. Cool. That's your response? The years?
It's okay when I do it. That's her whole shtick.
Because I'm referencing an old film, it's not a big deal. What? You're a public figure. You make videos all the time, and you just write off racist because you said so. Amazing.
Maybe you're wrong, Red. Maybe you're just wrong and insane.
What is going on here?
That's too small.
Yeah. Titans. I'm trying to become the new alpha, but I'm dummy thick, and the thunderclaps from my lightning keep alerting Godzilla.
What?
Oh, I get that reference. It's the reference about Solid Snake.
Oh.
You know, I'm dummy thick.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. My ass keeps. Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah.
Apparently, Godzilla ravaged the world of Jurassic Park. In the Lost World of Jurassic Park, there's a shot of terrified Japanese businessmen running from the rampaging T-Rex, shouting the Japanese, "We left Tokyo to get away from this."
It's a cool reference.
Yeah. They also made this joke in the Inspector Gadget movie. Like, yeah, they got Inspector Gadget clone is rampaging across the city, and this Japanese man screams, "This is why I left Tokyo."
For some reason, all the monsters attack happen in Tokyo.
And we got Kirby all of a sudden.
Like Kirby. Oh, you skipped the other thing.
There's too many. Godzilla official by Toho, -1 official trailer. Interesting.
Yeah, that's the movie I was talking about.
Huh.
It's supposed to be like I think it's like a remake of the original Godzilla.
Okay.
Yep.
I think my brain just committed suicide. All right.
Fair enough. I can understand.
Secretary of Education. Oh God.
Gamera. Yeah, he's a friend to the kids.
The only good Dexter is Dexter's Lab. Oh, this is Pokemon and the representative of the Godzilla lore. I
Yep.
guess.
Like a Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, Anguirus, Mecha Godzilla, and then Ghidorah or Ghidorah, depending on how you want it.
It's not that deep. Thank you, meme person, whoever you are. What about
Sugars.
Dexter Jexter? Oh God, let's not bring up
No.
Star Wars.
Yeah. No. No one likes Star Wars anymore.
You were never a king. You were never even a monster. Save Mothra. Why did you say that?
Still justified in hating the one spider kaiju. Fuck Kumanga.
My Sash say I am Ultraman.
There it is. Yeah. Okay. There's the
Yep.
Solid Snake reference. All right. Good stuff, guys. That was well.
Horrible.
It was. Yeah, they're all bad, but that was not the worst one she's done. But it was still, oh my God, every 20 seconds we got to listen to this crap. You're like, oh, that's stupid. Why'd you say that? That's silly. But we kind of expect that from her. No big deal.
Sometimes some tropes are not that deep.
I can't believe she made a video on that topic. She could have just talked about kaiju and said, this is what is in Japan, this is what people like, these are the popular ones, this is why it's good, this is why it's bad, this is why I like it. Think about it, not ramble on about other non-referential things. And
it would have done her better to actually reference
she
other
is able
kaiju
to.
besides just those 3 examples.
There's plenty of kaijus in Japan that we don't know very well much about. And she could
And there's kaiju stuff in other countries. I mean, hell, I bet the UK had Gorgo. That was their attempt at Godzilla.
Oh, really? Well, guys,
I think there's a lot of giant monsters in RPGs like the Tahaski in D&D.
you could
They're
bring up the weapons in Final Fantasy VII. That's very simple thing to. I think most people would know that reference. So we could have done so many things.
Yeah,
We had Jormungandr.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess go all the way back to ancient mythology.
Sure. Yeah.
I was gonna say that probably I think the great grandfather of kaiju movies would probably be the 1920s version of The Lost World.
Maybe.
Since it involves
because of dinosaurs.
Yeah, explorers.
Also, fun fact.
Explorers find dinosaurs, bring one back to civilization. The dinosaur breaks free and wreaks havoc.
Also, fun fact. It wasn't a scientist who coined the term dinosaur. It was a journalist, because scientists don't know how to name things.
Okay. They do now. They're very good
No,
with the
they
Latin.
don't.
No, they don't. They
don't.
still just name them random shit.
All right.
Like Tapuyasauro here in Brazil. Like, that's the worst name I see for a dinosaur, especially a sauropod.
Oh fuck! I just remembered. She never brought up the fucking Pulgasari. That was a North Korean kaiju movie where, like, a South Korean filmmaker and his wife got kidnapped and brought to North Korea and forced to make the movie.
Wow. That would have been fun to learn about.
Classic Kim Jong-il.
Okay. Well, that was Red as usual. We had a horrible time and laughed at her crazy mental ramblings. And unexpected racism. That was,
I never thought that hearing the phrase unexpected racism was
suddenly.
Is it really unexpected at this point?
You never know it could be racist. It could be some ramblings about, I don't know, the death penalty. It could be anything. It just pops up like, what?
It's unexpected in the way that we know that it is going to happen. We just don't know when and in which movie
and how
video
and how she's going to manifest it in her subconscious to pulp it out of her brain there. Anyway, that was a few weeks coming by. We finally got to it. Thanks, guys, for recommending it. It wasn't as bad as I thought, but still pretty horrible. So once a month, I think, is our limit with Red. So thanks, guys. We'll talk to you guys real soon. Keep the suggestions coming. Maybe we'll do another one next month, or maybe we'll have better tastes. I don't know. We'll find out. Thanks for your time. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.